Oh, this is good. This is a part. So she ups it by gangs, and watch what happens next.
Really offensive.
You think you're tough just ganging up on me like that?
Excuse me, don't appropriate gangs. My cousin was in one and it's really hard to get in.
It's offensive that you would talk about your cousin because I don't have any cousins.
I don't have a cousin.
How offensive. Who do you think you are?
Who do I think I am?
It's a simple question.
What?
Who do you think you are?
I don't know.
You don't know? Oh, great. So now you're just acting confused. Appropriating from the mentally handicapped community?
Appropriating from mental handicap.
No.
Then who do you think you are?
I don't know. I'm thirsty?
Do you know how offensive that is to the people in the Nigerian plains? They've gone days without drinking water. You've gone minutes.
Do you know how offensive it is to people in your own community that don't have clean drinking water, that you're worried about people all the way on the other side of the world?
Pivot.
Ooh, spoken with all the privilege of a white male.
It's kind of offensive
Hey,
coming from a
Lola.
white lady that's never had to work. Yeah, I'm offended you're white.
I'm offended that you're white.
I'm offended that you're offended.
Well, I'm offended that you're offended that she's offended.
Well, I'm offended that you're offended that he's offended that she's offended.
Hey guys, would you believe that some people are offended that they have to show their ID to vote?
Seriously?
Pathetic.
Some people are just kind of messed up in the head and don't have anything better to do.
Tell me about it. I feel sorry for them.
I've never tried macadamia milk.
Is it new?
Yeah, it's great.
I can't do dairy. Gives me intestinal issues.
Well, I think you're missing out, but I'm glad that you have the medical freedom to do what you want with your body.
Uh-oh. So we're living in a culture of offense. You say the wrong thing on YouTube, Facebook, to a friend, you get attacked. What happens then? You get anxious? You get triggered? You get cautious?
Crawl into a hole and hide from society. It's the only solution.
Yes. So, Neocon, are you anxious yet?
Yeah, I'm. Like I said, I always am.
What's it feel like? If you're always anxious, shouldn't you be used to it? Shouldn't you be okay with it?
Well, I like to it depends on the situation, and sometimes what I'm trying to do, and again, why I wanted to find out from other people how they deal with it is what I'm trying to do is really sit with it instead of try to battle with it immediately or struggle with it when it's happening. My anxiety kicks in because there was a lot of I learned about double binds. So my parents did that a lot. So they'll say do something, and then when you do it, they say I didn't tell you to. So that has permeated throughout my life. So those are moments where the anxiety kicks in. You know,
like
mostly
double binds?
I'm sorry?
You like double binds?
No.
No?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
No, who wants to deal with that? Like I tell you, make sure next time you're going live, put on headphones, and then you put it on, and then I go, you shouldn't have done that. That really made the video bad.
Yeah.
And so how would you feel about that? So next time you're like halfway with the headphones, like, do I put them on or do I not? And then even if someone else comes along and says, you can put them on, it's okay. You're still thinking of what I said about it, You
must have goofed up somewhere. You must have goofed up somewhere.
Just repeat this.
You must have goofed up somewhere. You must have goofed up. You must have goofed
over
up
and
somewhere.
over.
You must have goofed up somewhere.
So D, for you stalling, did you not have anything prepared? Are you just like pulling us out, see if you can drag out some shit so that we can...
I'm trying to make sure Drayvon got the link. She didn't get the message. So I am working on the side. Nice spot.
I think my anxiety.
But also,
I think my
that's
anxiety.
pulling anxiety from the group because you guys want to know where it's going. Right?
Yes.
Oh, clever turnaround. I like
Yeah.
that.
And I'm trying to think
feel
of
like
how to get a double bind to evoke in Neocon's childhood wounds. Let's all try to double bind him.
Well, I brought up my Kirk background to bring up some anxiety. So maybe you can tell me that I shouldn't have done that now, Dee.
I didn't notice.
It looks
Let's see.
like wrap his arms around you any second.
There we go.
It worked.
Got the link.
Look out behind you!
I just realized for me, anxiety feels like being set up to fail. Like you're telling me to do something and I know it's going to fail. And I can't win either way because I'm going to fail.
It's lose-lose.
If you tell me what to do.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just a lose situation. And so now I can identify that feeling of being set up to fail. But I still don't know how to deal with it because I evaporate at that point. I dissociate.
Yeah, I might use that as I might use that feeling that I get when I'm in that double bind, where I might use that as an indicator that I'm dealing with the BPD, because I do feel that when I'm around someone who I know is going to pull the rug out from under me. And I don't know what to do with that anxiety. But maybe I can use that as a trigger to just say, hey, wait a minute, I know that feeling. Okay, this is what's going on.
Yeah. And that's the easiest way I can say it. I feel like I'm being set up to fail. But
Yeah, I mean, I lived that way for like over 10 years in my marriage with my ex that I left, where I knew everything that she demanded that I do. You know, you have to do this, or you should be doing it this way, or whatever her demands were. Every single one of them it was so ill-defined and said in such a way that I knew if I followed the letter of what she said, I would be wrong.
You'd piss her off because you'd be wrong.
So I was constantly trying to figure out, so what does she really mean? Because it's not what she said.
Yeah. I get this a lot.
What's really happening? When is the rug gonna get pulled out? Or the shoe gonna drop? Or the floor falling apart? When is the double bind coming?
Well, that's when it starts. That's when it starts, and it doesn't matter when it happens because I already know it's coming and I can't do anything about it. And I'm like, I just leave my body. I just evaporate the room.
Dissociate.
I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
Anxiety, dissociation, time distortion. They're all linked.
Yeah.
Or as Deef would say, they're all a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Yeah, emotional flashbacks or time distortion.
Time distortion. Yeah.
So what do I do? If I feel that, what do I do?
We stay in the anxiety until at least Act 3.
Stay
This
in
is
the
only
emotion.
Act 1. We're trying to escalate.
And Nikan already said it once very correctly, and you know, here it's his first meeting, and he said, "Sit with it." It was impressive.
Yes, but that's
It's really, I know.
Oh, this is the double bind, because these are the things that Deep has actually said to do, and now he's shaming us. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no!
I don't know if this is gonna fall, but since this is anxiety, let's see if this video triggers anything.
Comments trigger me more.
The purest of intentions, you can create huge evil in the world. And a lot of this, I think, boils down to, I call it the woke movement, but it's a kind of control freakery. We don't trust each other. We don't trust each other. And we don't trust ourselves. And that's where it's the same as the Bolshevik Revolution. It's the same as the French Revolution. It's the same as the Spanish.
We don't trust each other. We don't trust ourselves. Is that a reason why anxiety is high?
That's a pretty crazy, huge generalization to say that it's the same as all those revolutions that have some pretty broad things that were going on in those individual cultures.
Why are you pointing out his giant jumps in logic? That's where the fun is. You link something small to something gigantic, so then you can dramatize the audience.
I like Richard, but he spins a yarn once in a while, and I'm like, what the fuck did you just say?
Exactly. You're getting... Enjoy the train wreck.
The French Revolution. It's the same as the Spanish Inquisition. We collectively fear our own nature.
We fear our own nature.
So we're like, oh my God, we've got to stop the people from saying the words or praying in the wrong language or reading the wrong fucking book. And if they say no, we're going to chop their parts off and burn
Isn't this a double bind?
them. And you go, wow, man, just wow, calm the fuck down.
Right.
Calm down with this.
Right.
No. Stir up the anxiety.
I like that. That's the answer to the French Revolution and the Chinese Revolution. Just calm the fuck
Everyone
down.
calm down. Drink alcohol and snort cocaine.
Rigid psychotic certainty about truth.
God is dead basically means fuck.
Oh, that's a side thing. So calm down. That was the clue there. And then, how will this work? How about this?
Your life continues to suck because you won't make changes because you're rigidly stuck in your own ego. I don't care. I don't care. And it feels good to say that as a codependent. I don't care. It's not my problem. It's your problem.
Did that fit? Not really. But...
Don't care. It's not my problem. It's your problem.
See? We got Ania Khan to leave. We got him anxious.
He had to go get a drink.
He ran to a safe space.
Now, if he comes back with cocaine, it's your fault, Deeth.
Oh, right here, Grannon said, not my fault. Don't care.
Your life continues to suck because you won't make changes because you're rigidly stuck in your own ego. I don't care.
Grannon doesn't care.
It feels good to say that as a codependent.
Shouldn't I?
Don't care. It's not my problem.
Not care.
It's your problem.
That's from today too.
So you're supposed to say that you don't care when you suddenly feel like you're being set up to fail? Is that what he means?
Well, so if you feel like you're being set up to fail because of...
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no sincere communication.
So what's the problem if you feel like you're being set up to fail?
There is no sincere communication with the insincere. There is no...
You feel like the rules of the game, double bind, is setting you up to fail. You're taking sincere, or you're taking insincere communication as sincere.
Right.
So you're caring, you're believing insincere.
Right.
Double bind, and that's your fault. You blame it on the other person.
So anxiety is your own fault.
Your anxiety is your fault because you're trying to make a lie insincere communication somebody else's defenses next week. You're trying to make somebody else's defenses, their projections, fit into your reality but it's by design. A mindfuck, double bind, is by design to mess with you. Why is it designed to mess with you? Because I can't find the. Oh, here.
It'll make your mind turn. It'll make your head spin. But for the narcissist, we're sitting there like in our heads like, yes, how powerful am I? It'll make your mind turn. It'll make your head spin. But for the narcissist, we're sitting there like in our heads like, yes, how powerful am I? It'll make your mind.
They want your reaction because it feels good. They want to create a double bind for a neocon because it feels good. Just like I'm trying to think of a double bind to trap a neocon and see him fall apart. But it's hard to do on Zoom. And I've told them, so it's even harder to do when you tell a person you're trying to set them up. Because there's no surprise factor. If I was an amazing comedian like Dave Chappelle, he can give you the pitch and still deliver it and still work, but I'm not Dave Chappelle. So. But I'll still try to get a neocon hooked on a double bind and watch him collapse and cry in front of all of us.
Oh man, that's gonna be hard.
Go into your water tank.
Act 2.
That's
Act 2? More exploration. So do people understand more about anxiety, time distortion, dissociation?
Yeah.
Or less? Or are people still confused?
Can you explain the time distortion part? I understand. I understand anxiety and the dissociation, but the time distortion part is still where I have a lot of question marks.
What don't you understand about time distortion?
Like
I think
what
this is
is
the perfect
what
time
is yeah
to
what
put a
is time
neocon in a double bind. But I need to pull out some more questions. So,
okay, so what
watch
is
me
time
try.
distortion?
So which don't you understand? Time or distortion or both?
So I don't understand both, like them put together. I understand
don't
them
understand
individually,
time?
but not as one phrase.
Not as one phrase?
Yes.
Does that cause anxiety in you?
Absolutely.
Why?
What's
wrong with you?
realized something.
The anxiety will all but for me, because of how
the rest of the room here, they all understand. You're the only person that doesn't understand in the whole world.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. And that's
How can you
the
be
thing.
fine with that?
Because right now, where I am now is I'm in the I don't know section, and I'll be in there until I understand something fully. What I was trained to do before was to lie and pretend or be quiet about what I don't know, which
That's what I'm trying to get you to do. Why aren't you lying to make me look like a good leader? You're making me look incompetent.
Well, we can't put on an act. This space is already a safe space. I found the answer. So being around like-minded people makes me, yeah. I mean, it's
melting.
My kryptonite.
however is defined, but I've been looking for this kind of forum for a long time. So I'm not ashamed to be here. And I think that's the art.
You've lost your teeth, Chief. You cannot scare us.
That's the experiential part of anxiety. If I can keep you in anxiety and keep it playful, it neutralizes your charge. And then, when your guard is down, then I'll get a neocon in a double bind so I can like crush him. I'm still trying to set him up.
I've just realized how I experience time distortion somatically. So when I have the feeling that I can't win with myself, that somehow I'm set up to fail, and it's the same feeling, I can't win with myself, I run to the bathroom, I run a bath, I sit in the bath and I get on my phone and I start journaling or whatever while I'm in the bath, somatically feeling the water, and I lose track of time, and probably an hour goes by and I've just wasted away in the bath.
Oh, there. That's a nice definition. You lose track of time. Time distortion.
Yep. I completely lose track of time. I wanted a fix. I wanted a quick fix to not being able to win with myself, but I didn't manage to do it. I went and fucked up. I jumped in the bath and lost an hour of my time. There was no quick fix.
And Neocon, that
Like,
reminds me.
why can't I just?
I want to no. Go ahead. And I want to build on what you're saying. But go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. There's no quick fix, and I don't know how to fix that. My reaction to not being able to win with myself, I'm feeling like I can't win. I'm set up to fail.
Move it. Move it.
Jump in the bath.
Move it.
And then I lose an hour.
I was going to say that.
Carry on.
If you have a thought, like if you're sitting here perceiving with the group, we're all moving along in shared time, and you have a thought and you go off on this tangent, and then you're thinking about this thing and you're perceiving this and you're doing this. Meanwhile, the group is moving along with this thing, and then you jump in right with continuing your thought, but everyone else thinks 10 minutes has gone by, but you're still right there in your thought. That's time distortion.
Oh, thank you for that definition. Yeah, that makes sense. Huh.
Well, that's more reactive, and I was not aware of that, Kurt. That's great. That helps me a lot.
Kurt, you helped 2 people. Why are you breaking the goal? The goal is to get a neocon in a double bind, not help people.
I'm failing. I know. I'm sorry. It's my codependent. I have to try and help.
You're trying to help people lose track of time. To get them to spin so they see what time distortion is. Not know it. Then it's too easy. It's too safe. It's like a safe space. That would be... Safety. No.
Was that one of your images that it's one of your cartoons, I think, that you had up in the background in one of the videos with the person preaching on the podium, and I think it was in a college or something, and the people in the audience were in their boxes and said safe space on their box, and they were looking out at the person telling them from the podium. That was awesome.
I must have that. Where is it? Right here. Merge.
Yes, it was on that. Yeah, I love that one. Bottom right.
Don't people want to study in boxes? That sounds like fun. Oops. I'm out of practice. Oh, there.
Yeah, we can't really see it. You're failing, Dave.
I'm failing because someone mentioned safe space. They're bigger. So, Neocon, now you understand time distortion?
Yes. Thank you very much, Kurt, for
Feel like
that explanation.
You're in a safe space, in a box, on a postage stamp of Zoom. Do you feel like a postage stamp?
No.
I do. It's a postage stamp. That's what we do on Zoom. Okay, anxiety. Who's still anxious?
Watching Carlos, I'm anxious that he's watching our group while he's driving. Makes me very anxious.
Oh, that he's driving? Is he moving in the background?
Your Star Trek person looking astonished makes me nervous and anxious, Kurt.
Well, that's what it's intended to. I was trying to help Deef because I was being a good codependent.
Job well done, then.
People are nervous? Why?
His background reminded me of an SNL skit. I think it was probably from last week when they had like these two like teenagers saying exactly the same skit as about I'm so offended. And I don't remember the skit exactly, but it cracked me up.
You're so offended. What do we want to cover? I think I've given up. I can't put a neocon.
Yeah, you're
double bind.
bringing about a lot of anxiety because you haven't prepared here, Deef.
I haven't prepared nothing.
Oh, hell no!
Ugh. It's a dialogue group. It's supposed to be you guys have the material, not me.
Oh, but we've been told that we talk too much on YouTube, so we're all trying to be quiet and let you give us a monologue.
I want to know something about how Crystal mentioned EMDR. How is that supposed to help with anxiety? What's the theory behind it? Because I've done the somatic self-therapy, but I still can't figure out the EMDR thing.
Oh, I think a neocon has read a book on it. Can give us
No, I haven't. I've just seen.
You haven't dived
videos
into EMDR in all your 4 years of research?
No, I haven't.
Anybody
but
else
I've heard of it.
Experience or explanation for EMDR? Any takers?
Yes, I have.
Holly.
So I didn't get too far with my therapist, but it's this thing where I did the tapping with my hands. So, you know, it's a device. It's just two little tappers in my hands. It goes back and forth, left, right, left, right, left, right. And they can do this also with the eye movement. And it just brought me to release emotions. So, and we were just sort of doing sort of a memory of going back to a happy time in my childhood. We never really got to the negative stuff, but I did do some crying afterwards. So I felt like I got to emotions that were somatically trapped. You didn't even know what it was related to. So it does release emotions. It's supposed to help you process your unprocessed trauma. That's the purpose of it.
I do something similar to that with binaural beats. You have one frequency in the left, another frequency in the right, and the brain is entrained to recognize the difference frequency, and it flutters with the difference frequency, and you can feel that fluttering in your brain. And that fluttering is like a pineal gland massage or something. So you can feel a flood of hormones with it.
Or you can. Most people don't.
Yeah, I can, but I don't know if
hormone flooding in their head. But.
Yeah, so we're just wondering if that's what it is.
So it's a somatic therapy that works with eye gaze, but it can also work with audio or physical sides.
Okay.
So the theory is that you have two hemispheres of your brain, right and left. So your trauma sometimes is stored in one section, or split. So you might have a left brain memory and a right brain sensation. And that's not congruent. So if the EMDR therapist can guide you to the memory, to something that's highly subjective units of distress, they guide you to that sensation.
Yeah. Okay.
Then they do the EMDR visual auditory tapping to try to integrate that memory or bring it to the surface, to bring the implicit to explicit. So then, like Holly, you can feel the memories, you can start crying to integrate it. Because what happened is you had the trauma. When we had the double bind, the mindfuck, which I'm trying to get a neocon back to so we can be entertained, but I will fail. But EMDR can get in there, bring up the memory, and then he'll feel it, because when he got triggered as a child or with the partner, he held back his feelings. He stopped feeling using anxiety. So anxiety is a tool where you can separate from core emotions. Next week, not this week, but it's a tool that allows you to separate from core emotions. Because if you cried or got angry at your parent, that means your livelihood is cut. So you supersede your core emotion, numb it out, dissociate from it, separate yourself from the core emotion, from your trauma, using anxiety. Anxiety is a meta emotion.
You've just jumped on to next week, right? So I have to attend next week now to figure this out.
No.
Okay.
Next week will probably be a total fail.
Oh, God.
I'll be upset because the neocon probably won't come back. So I won't have a second chance to try to double bind him. I'll be distracted by that.
I'll be back. I actually wanted to attend in person. I actually wanted to attend in person because that's the first time I discovered this meetup group. They said they were meeting in person in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm just
finally
excited
made it
to
here.
be here. Yeah.
So EMDR helps you balance the two emotions,
Okay.
and the idea is to integrate your core emotion, integrate the unresolved grief, integrate the trauma, integrate whatever, your inner child.
Maybe.
Because if you don't feel viscerally, with gravity, visceral gravitas, if you don't feel it with weight and in your body, it's stuck in time. It's dissociated, time distortion, and all you feel is anxiety. Anxiety is on the surface of all your trauma.
Right.
That's why you're hypervigilant, paranoid, anxious.
I don't feel anxiety being here right now because all this stuff, okay, imagine all of you guys in one person's head. That's how I felt before, even with therapy. I had questions, but there was no one to talk to. You walk up to someone and go BPD, and they go, "What is that? The police department?" And NPD, BPD,
Baltimore,
and
police department.
Yeah, exactly.
BPD, yeah.
So like a lot of people are not aware of these terms. Talk less of narcissistic abuse. So me just being here today, like this has really, really, really helped. I don't know how to explain how much it's helped. That's why I'm just soaking in. Like I'm just listening to now for the first time. This feels normal to me. Like the learning process feels normal.
That's how we solve anxiety. Do you see the experiential part of how you can disarm anxiety?
Yeah, the exposure to our different dialogues and the differential learning, we're all sort of, I mean, sometimes I side chat, which I'm not competing for attention, Kali. how we side chat and we have different side conversations at the same time. That's kind of differential learning all thrown in at once. And we get to play out those many different roles that maybe we've had in our heads at different times. Which is kind of funny to see the YouTube complaints about that. That the YouTube complaints are with this video. What do you have all these people talking? What is that? Just give us a lecture. You know, we just want to
Silence
hear
all the
someone
other voices.
someone tell us how the
Only
world
one.
is. I'm like, oh my God, how boring. You just want to listen to someone tell you what to think? Go fuck off. Go, read your little self-help books in the grocery store. I mean,
and that's what kind of got me tired of watching the videos, because it's easy to talk about this stuff and pretend you can work on it one-on-one after watching a video of someone like a Richard Grannon or anyone like that, but it is not easy. Again, this is not something common. I remember in the very early stage when I discovered this stuff, I would just tell people, I would just say, oh, this person is NPD, and people would just look at me like I'm crazy.
Exactly.
So I had to stop explaining this stuff to people, and rather, I spent time working on myself, and now again, looking for people, like-minded people, like who know this stuff, where it won't be weird.
There's no one. It's always weird.
I tend to find that I'm usually messed up for 3 days after these meetings because I reflect on everything that I didn't see. I didn't see that come in. And that's because I'm socially blind. Real life interaction, I suck.
So, let's end with or try to end with a teaser. So I'm delusional, and we'll try to integrate ISTDT, intensive short-term psychodynamic therapy, into codependent terms. So we start with this.
It's in need of an experience, not an explanation.
That's part of what a neocon was saying, right?
The need of an experience, not an explanation.
You wanted the experience. And how did they do that with ISDP? DP?
The patient is in need of an experience, not an explanation. We ask, inquire, and probe for feelings while blocking defenses and monitoring anxiety. We help the patient discover what is true for him. Helping her see this one-to-one relationship between her symptoms and defenses and the suppressed feelings and impulses is essential work in undoing the depressive mechanism. She was able to see and experience how she had turned her anger and aggression back onto herself. This increased her motivation and revived hope, two crucial elements in any therapy. I hope this example helps you see how through the process of inquiry, patient and therapist can discover the underlying causes of the patient's symptoms and suffering. In ISTDP, we ask the patient about his feelings. We don't tell him what he's feeling. This is very important. We're not omnipotent, the all-knowing therapist, but a resource, a collaborator in the exploration of the patient's inner life. We ask, inquire, and probe for feelings while blocking defenses and
blocking defenses, that's the hard part.
Monitoring anxiety.
Monitoring anxiety, that's today. So you block defenses, monitor anxiety, then you get to the core feelings. We didn't do as much blocking defenses because it's hard to do in a group. I haven't figured it out. Because one person's defenses trigger somebody else's defenses, trigger somebody else's defenses. Then there's a trigger spiral, which I have a tendency to watch and enjoy. So instead, I'll work with softening anxiety here.
Spotting the anxiety in people first.
You don't need to spot it. You spot it in yourself first. You can't manage your anxiety. You can't.
Well,
really
yeah, I mean,
else's.
I'm trying to spot it in myself, and I'm like, what does that look like in other people?
You don't need to spot it. It's always there. Just
Yeah.
assume you're anxious. Assume you're anxious. Assume you have time distortion. Assume you're dissociated. Assume you're defensive.
Okay.
Let's finish this.
In so doing, we help the patient discover what is true for him. The patient is in need of an experience, not an explanation. By helping the patient experience his true feelings, rather than getting anxious and resorting to defensive avoidance, we can help him have a corrective emotional experience.
That's the way out. That's the way out. You need a corrective emotional experience. But if you're a codependent who's afraid of emotions, this part, I can't find it.
Fear of negative emotions.
Yes, someone else repeat, Brandon. Codependent.
The terror of negative emotions in yourself and in others. The terror of negative emotions in yourself and in others.
If that keeps you from having a corrective emotional experience, then guess what? You never heal. If all you're doing is strengthening your defenses, fighting your defenses to get away from anxiety, you never get to your core emotional feelings. Love addicts probably have some pointer about that. Emotional anorexia or something, so you're so afraid of your feelings, you get so numb and distant from it. The only thing you feel is anxiety and your defenses. So that'll be maybe next week. But
It's also an experience of authenticity, of being real, alive, and self-expressed. This seems to unleash a healing process within the patient that has been blocked and suppressed by excessive reliance on defenses.
that's what self-help does. That's what most therapies do. Excessive reliance on
That has been
defenses.
blocked and suppressed by excessive reliance on defenses.
Excessive defenses creates self-fulfilling suffering. You just keep wasting your time trying to defend against anxiety. And it's a double bind. It's a self-created double bind, which I still haven't succeeded at making a neocon stuck in a double bind today. It's been too much fun for him. Terrible. Yes, the delay in the video was really bad with Grannon. That last one was more in sync, right? Yeah, the Grannon video was off. Any other takeaways or summaries? A neocon.
Yes.
What happened today? What are some takeaways? What are some critiques? How can we improve to make this more safe or more dangerous or more fun?
I think we should all be in boxes, like literal boxes, while we on.
With safe written on.
Physical
Yeah,
boxes.
you should present in a box. Yeah, I would feel safer. No, no, this was really helpful.
Right here.
Seriously,
box.
This was
Keep
really
going.
helpful. Yeah, I learned a lot, and thank you for this meeting being existing, and all this stuff. I took a lot of notes, so I'm excited about what I learned today, and I'm also excited about meeting everyone on here as well.
I'm just.
I think if it was in the beginning stage, if I had found this group in the beginning stage, I think that would have been interesting, because I was extremely angry, and I was looking for, I guess I was being vengeful. So right now I'm in the stage where I'm willing to learn. So no matter what, I don't really mind the arguments, but that's how I rather have an argument with a real person than to have that argument in my head where I'm disappearing into the abyss of what I don't know, because I feel like that's a part of my defense mechanism that I've had before. To suppress the anxiety is to pretend that I know something, just to avoid getting punished by my parents, which was always the outcome, because you had to be smart where I grew up. So for me, like being here is, even if someone, disagrees with me, like that's the whole point. Like I want to learn. So that, like, hearing different points of views makes sense to me.
He's too happy. Or he's faking. Maybe he's faking it. Maybe he's being codependent, trying to make us happy.
This is deep. This is deep stuff. I'm just trying to process a lot.
Which part was so deep or heavy?
The defenses, I think I get now. That makes sense. And I think that's, but I defend in different ways. I might not defend overtly. I'll defend covertly, and I'll go silent. I'll disassociate.
Yeah. And I lose time. I disappear into the bathtub.
And that's a defense, which I didn't know that was a defense. But of me going silent, I didn't realize that was a defense of mine. I thought I was just keeping peace. I didn't realize.
It's a strategy.
I have a question for Deef. So do you think, so for some artists, do you think this is their way of escaping or defense, kind of?
It can
like
be.
Sort of like a dissociation?
You get lost in the art, a distraction.
Yeah, because it takes
I do.
It's hours.
Yeah.
So I've always wondered that.
Isolating.
And it's almost like there's a little bit of pain to it too, because like normally you wouldn't, like there's some times where I spend the whole day inside just working on stuff, and I haven't stepped outside once.
Yep. I have different kinds of art.
Or you dive into something immersive, which isn't bad in itself, but if you're doing it to escape reality or to check out, then it's more defensive.
So could it fall under time distortion also? Because like just spending time, working on a very detailed piece, like this piece behind me, it has no purpose. I just did it just for, like it was one of those moments where I just felt like, let me disappear into doing this so I don't think about something else in the meantime.
Yes, if your agenda is not to think about stuff or ruminate or something, or feel anxious,
That's
or
why
feel any of these emotions, then it's a defense.
That's why I dance, because when you're doing ballet, you're thinking about so many different parts of your body. There's no space left in your brain for anything else.
Exactly. I love ballet.
Ugh,
but I'm absolutely rubbish at it.
You can't just, exactly. You can't just love it.
I am so rubbish.
Well,
I try. I keep trying.
If you didn't think you were rubbish, then you wouldn't be a real dancer. If you said, I'm great at it, then I would say, I'd question you.
So Debbie, Trina has a question.
Gonna say I'm great. None. Zero. None. I don't care how.
I'm greedy. I always want to be better, and I'm never satisfied with what I've got. I am very self-controlling.
Yep.
Yes, but let's go back to Debbie, because Debbie has issues with being silent and quieted. So let's put the spotlight on her to make her feel nervous, to raise some anxiety.
Well, I have a lot of anxiety right now. I'm going back to work full time next month, the middle of May, 100%. And I haven't seen half these people in over a year. and it's bothering me. It's actually troubling me to go back full time. You know, then I got to answer questions about my ex-NARC because I was supposed to move already, and they all assumed I moved. A lot of people assumed, and it's a lot. It's been taking me over, and now I have to be vaccinated within 2 days, and they're setting appointments up for us, and it's too
But
much.
I hear your story, and your story seems like a projection of the future.
Yeah.
And the projection of the future sounds like a defense that's trying to manage anxiety. So I'm going to circle around to Trina's question to try to get to some feelings, and also give the group a preview of ISTDP to say what the question was. Did you feel pushed into being silent?
Growing up, yeah, because if I wasn't silent, the screaming it wouldn't stop. My mother was a rageaholic, and we were told to be seen and not heard. And if we answered her back, it just wouldn't stop. She wouldn't stop. So it was just like,
and then I'm
I
still
didn't speak because
going
I
to remind you that this is also projection, which is a defense to try to create some distance from the feeling. What did you feel when you were trapped in that situation versus what the story was of what your mom was doing? What did you feel when you were being erased, silent, and invisible?
I thought that's what we're supposed to do. I mean,
what did you feel, not what did you think? Do you feel more anxiety right now? Because this is a hard question. They didn't ask you what you felt. You're still thinking about what you're thinking.
And I'm trying to get.
And now you're thinking about answering the question wrong, but there's no right answer because we're trying to disarm anxiety because you can't go here. So we've got to disarm anxiety to get to here, and then the therapist or the group can try to keep you at anxiety, neutralize anxiety. Then
Are you numb about the feelings? Yeah. Are you numb? Well, so is she staying in anxiety rather than to go into the feeling? Is that what you're saying, Deef?
She doesn't know how to.
Like she's anxious about giving an answer?
She's anxious because there's anxiety. Anxiety is rush, time distortion. I don't want to get it wrong. The hammer's going to come. Rug's going to be pulled out underneath you. So there's no space to feel feelings because anxiety is too high. So you don't try to rush the feelings. That's what therapists try to do. That's what support groups try to do. You just work with the anxiety first. Give it space and time. Make it okay. Then the feelings naturally come up to the surface, but sometimes you have to circle around. Stay with the anxiety and try to say, let's go deeper. Let's go to the feelings. But you have to make it safe. No, you have to make it okay. Okay, safe. You have to make it safe to feel feelings. The few times I'm going to say safe is okay. Safe is like disgusting. But you have to make anxiety safe.
Okay.
Then the feelings can start coming up. But you're so used to feelings being dangerous that you have anxiety if any of your feelings come to the surface. So then you go to the projection, the story, what I think. So then I take you to anxiety and just stay there. That's what we did all meeting, but I didn't explain the whole thing because I was trying to amplify anxiety by making it confusing and then wasting my brain space trying to figure out how to get a double bind for a neocon and try to remember how to pronounce his name, a neocon. So I was distracted, so I wasn't able to create a perfect presentation. And I'm still basking in, like, Brandon giving a little bone to our group. But you sort of see this process of how we gave Debbie the spotlight, which she's been hungering to be seen. But now once you're seen too much, you don't know how to answer. All you do is spin in your story. And it's, where are you? Where's your feelings? Back then you were lost. Even now you're lost. You see?
Well, now it's just the feeling of just being overloaded, seeing so many people and
Anxiety.
talking.
Overloaded. Too much. Still not you. What do you feel in you about you? Not about your overloaded, chaotic environment.
It's, for me, it's an overload of speaking to so many people. It's just constant being on. I have to constantly be on the spot, like kind of, you know, when you're at work, there's so many people that come over to you. There's like, especially the first.
See?
Yeah, especially.
And then now you're looping to your work situation. Your future is linked to your childhood situation. It's all a story clump.
Yeah, well, as a child, as long as we was, actually, my sister and I are 5 years apart. So I went to school and she was born. So I always was emotionally abandoned and I was thrown out also. Like I felt like I'm in this place and she's at home. Like, why did I get thrown out? Like, and the emotional part got thrown out too, because the attention was all on the crying baby.
So you got thrown out, and being thrown out maybe created feelings of isolation, confusion, shame.
Yeah.
And you said, why did I get thrown out? That's guilt, right? What did I do wrong? How do I fix it? But you never found a resolution, right? You just kept having to perform your fake self, your false self. Keep
right,
up with everything.
Until I realized that people should never have children 5 years apart because one gets thrown away in some school.
Oh, that's a projection. That's a super ego. See?
I know.
You're pretty good. Now you got a super ego injunction in your head to try to get you some distance from your anxiety. So you have projection, super ego, some repression, your isolation. See, you're a perfect example of all four of these defenses. Look at that.
Oh my God.
Just like Ania Khan said, I read this book and it's a script. Everything I fell for. Well, all four of these defenses you just went through. And that's perfect timing to end it officially at 7. This is a teaser for next week. We'll try to present this in a more comprehensive way to try to make ISD TDP techniques for the masses. No one's done it.